Hey, so what's up, everybody? You tuned into the Chicano podcast. I'm your host, Steve Garcia Pelon. This is being brought to you by Chicano. This is being brought to you by Chocast. And we're in the year 2021. What's up? What's the deal? How y'all doing out there? I just wanted to talk a little bit about being hyped up, being grateful, being thankful that there are other Chicanos out there that are like-minded. Once you start, digging, delving, and finding, and collaborating, with other people that aspire to be leaders in the Chicano realm or ecosphere of your circle. I will say this: it will have payoffs. You'll start to converse and have dialogues and narratives with other Chicanos. And today I was able to listen in a little bit, on a chat because, hey, gente's out there getting smart these days. They're starting to collaborate on Zoom, having little Zoom meetings. And, this is what it's going to take moving forward, in 2021, 2022, 2023, and every year that, precedes, the future. And, when I say that, I'm excited because, a lot of the things that are being said are things that I've thought about. These questions, these narratives, these dialogues, they're questions that I've pondered. Things that I've thought about, questions that I've asked myself, dilemmas that I've seen, with our struggle. And, today I want to go ahead and talk a little bit about, I'm getting closer and closer and closer to talking about more nationalism, more sovereignty, more self-actualization, like the pinnacle. When, we talk about, like, if you went to school, you went to college, you ever talked about, like, Maslow's hierarchy of needs, when you're talking about psychology and, all the basic necessities that a human being needs, a lot of times, we look for the first things. And that's, shelter and food and water and, clothing and sex and all those innate instinct, drive-driven, things that we need as just beings or animals, if you will, as a human being in the species of, the world's, living. We have to procreate. We have to protect ourselves. We have to eat. We have to nourish our bodies, But, we're a little bit more complicated than that with our brains. We think, we ask questions, we have emotions, we have emotions like love. And, once we start getting closer and closer and closer, to that pinnacle of Maslow's hierarchy of needs in psychology, we start to talk about self-actualization. And that's pretty cool because when we talk about being a Chicano, that's what, in my opinion, we're doing. We're actualizing, we're becoming aware of our history and our roots and all the things that we were never taught and all that good stuff. So when I talk about, us as a people and us as being a, I wouldn't say a minority, because we are slowly becoming the majority, and it's evident in the school system. You look at a lot of these elementaries, you look at a lot of these junior highs, you look at a lot of high schools, here in Texas, California. I mean, there's just Mexican Americans, and hey, you know what? I don't know why we're experiencing the pandemic, epidemic, the things that we're seeing in these highly populated areas, but I do hear lots of talks, about depopulation. I do hear lots of talks about conspiracy theories. And, when you talk about, the top 1% wanting to keep power, they do have a reason to conspire. They do have a reason to, use all their wealth and all their chips to stay in power. So, of course, I think that all the richest men in America or the world are going to conspire to keep people down. And, if they got to keep the masses back by killing them, I wouldn't put that past, people, that probably have patents on all these, you know, coronaviruses 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't know how many patents there are out there. But, I just question, I'm not here to, really go into all that. But, like I said, when we're realizing our strength is in our numbers. Our strength is in, our people. Our strength is in our equity as a unit that moves together. If we stay divided, we're never going to be strong. We're never going to be powerful. And that's some of the dialogue that I got tonight with listening to, one of the Zoom meetings that I was privy to, with some of the brothers and some of the sisters that I have, as being a Chicano, Mexican American, Native American, indigenous person. We were talking, or they were actually talking, and I was just really listening, about, our place in society, or our inferiority, as opposed to, the hegemony of the society that we live, the structures, the power, that's wielded against us, and not really allowing us, to have a voice or have a political voice. We don't really have a person or a framework that's going to give us, the things that we need, especially when, we're in already a system that's already been built by certain people to keep that wealth, keep that power, keep that structure in place. And, so a lot of this is education. A lot of this is rethinking what our children need to know. If you think back about some of the kids, that maybe instead of went to, school, maybe if they would have went to a trade school like AC, HVAC, learning how to be a carpenter, or learning how to be, a person in construction or something like that, some of these children of ours would have done a lot better, just because we would have given them a way to make money. And that in itself is something that we got to be thinking about. How do we rethink the monetary system? And if we were to pool all of our money together, wouldn't we be a much stronger force and be able to have demands and all this huge so-called democracy that we live in? We don't really have a vote. We have a two-party system. A lot of people say, the lesser of two evils. And a lot of people talk about, I think there was a guy named Boss Tweed, which was the guy that said, I don't care who you vote for as long as I can pick the candidates. And that's what's going on. These people at the top of the power structure, they're picking the candidates for us. And I think that, whether, you voted for Biden or whether you voted for Trump, neither one of these guys are really going to be in our, interests. Obviously, I don't like Trump. Obviously, we don't like Trump. Obviously, 80% of our people, really don't like the whole racist rhetoric towards Mexican Americans or indigenous or Native American people. That he kind of has he has that essence of just being a very racially motivated character. And I'm not gonna really get into all that, but hey, Biden's the new president. Are things really gonna change? Are they really gonna set all the children free? Are there really gonna be changes for the Chicano, for the Mexican Americans, for the African Americans, for the people that have been experiencing inequality? Or is it still gonna be the same old, just without the racist narratives? So when I talk about, the elements of nationalism and sovereignty, we really do need to think about leadership. We really do need to think about groups. We really do need to think about how to pull our weight together, because really, isn't that what America was founded on? These principles of subsidizing the colonies, subsidizing the pilgrims. Isn't that really a form of welfare? And when you look at, that structure of capitalism and the way that it really works, it is to benefit. It is to benefit the rich, the wealthy, and the elite. And a few are going to be able to make it to the top. A few are going to be able to have good jobs. But like the vast majority, of the 300 million, or, in 5 years, who knows where the population is going to be, the 325 million people that we have right now. The vast majority of that is not living the American dream. I don't care how you want to slice it. Maybe you're doing okay, but is that really what we want for 80% or 70% or 60% of those 320 something million people to be living under the poverty line? Is that really what we want? So these are the kind of things that, I'm just saying that, if, we look at, the different races across the board, you can also look at, male and female gender inequality. You can look at education amongst races, blacks and whites, and, Latinos or Hispanics or indigenous or natives or whatever you want to call us. There is a condescending number that is associated with being the non-privileged, And when I say privileged, there are people that started out in a much better place 100 years ago than people in slavery, or people that were being hunted down and killed still 100 years ago. So don't twist, some of the words that I use or some of the narratives, because they're very real, and like I said, I'm just excited. I haven't really done I haven't done an episode in some time, and it's been for good reason. I've been, just thinking about, what I want to do with the podcast. I've been thinking about what I want to do with my life, and, yes, I want to work. Yes, I want to make money. Yes, I want to be in society doing something. And that's just like it's the double-edged sword, as we can talk about all of these things that are so seeming that they're native or anti-indigenous because it's capitalist, but we still got to eat. We still got to shelter ourselves. We still got to have, love. How can you have love if you can't, even be free? If you can't have, warmth at night? If you can't even speak with an education? If you don't have money to clothe yourself or feed yourself? How can you be comfortable enough to find that partner, or feel comfortable enough to go out and look, for a partner, So these are a lot of things that we as Chicanos have to deal with, but we're going to have to be able to bring them to the table. We're going to have to be able to discern them, and we're going to have to be able to have these discussions. So they're very complicated issues. One person is going to make a good point. One person is going to talk about, education, and one person is going to talk about money, and one person is going to talk about how those educations and those systems of money are actually still going to disenfranchise us when we're growing those systems. So I think we have to be smart enough to realize, discern, and understand that, and play the cards that we're dealt. Use that system while we can, but start putting our eggs in other baskets. Start trying to create. The other day I saw a ad, I think it was on some social media platform, that talked about banking, like a mobile app banking for it said Latinx slash black or African American people. So it was trying to basically wield money or consumers to bank with this particular banking app based on giving back to the community of African Americans or Latinx people. That was the words or the verbiage that was used in the app. So I thought it was kind of like a cool idea, if anything, for people to say, hey, you know what, so much money of the proceeds or the whatever is actually being used to start businesses for African Americans or for Latinx people. And that was like the profile of what this app was. And so these are the kind of things that I think of when I think of, like, hey man, buy Chicano, buy Mexican American, buy something in our culture, something from our people, something that is going to feed another family that could be your cousins, your distant relatives, your people, your culture, uplift your people, help raise your people. The Europeans got it pretty good over here. They enslaved and they killed a lot of people, making the system good for them. And, that's all said and done. It's in the past, whatever, but nobody's tearing down that system. That system is still set up to disenfranchise, or give certain people a competitive edge or a jump start at life, sort of being like a silver spoon in your mouth. Many of us were not born that way. However, many of our friends, our white friends, may have different circumstances. Their parents may have, afforded them to go to college, right after high school. Maybe they didn't have to work. Maybe, they had a car, right at 16. Maybe they had, parents that, were spending time with them, doing homework with them. All these additional benefits, that a lot of times, we don't really look at. A lot of times we don't think about these kind of things. And, I don't know. We really need to start looking at that self-sufficiency. We really need to start, talking about, having leaders. We really need to start, opening our eyes in this system of lies, that we live in. I can't say that, there's not a neoliberal aspect to everyone, we're all on our iPhones. We all drive cars. We all, purchase gas. We all go to Walmart. We all feed into the system. But at the same time, I'm saying just be smart enough to discern that, maybe there's a way that we can diversify our portfolio and give back to the community. Buy Mexican food, buy tamales from the little lady down the street. You might be helping her family. Go into a store or a mechanic's place that is in your barrio, that's in your neighborhood. That's somebody that, you might actually, do business with again, and they may do business with you. Keep it in the community. Think about those type of things. That's really, I think, in a general gist of why I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about, what the overcoat of like nationalism and the overcoat of what sovereignty, really is, it's equity, it's, having some type of dignity on your own land, on your own property, on your own 2 feet. There were a lot of things that were given, to people, like the colonizers, that came over here a long time ago that stole everything, or the government set up everything to basically, disenfranchise everybody when it came to their freedoms or their land or, even their rights, or even their life. All of those inequities only gave systematic privilege, wealth, land, and opportunity to those people that have a 500-year head start on us. And the only way that we're ever going to compete with that is if we start, we can't go and do the same thing they did to us. That's just out of the question, right? We can't, two wrongs don't make a right. However, we can level the playing field by changing that system back to the way that it was. And before, Europeans came over here, those systems were our systems. Those lands were our lands. The modes of commerce were our modes of commerce. We controlled commerce. We controlled fishing. We controlled hunting. We controlled trade. We controlled education. We had institutions. We taught our children how to do the things that our grandparents did. And not only that, amongst other tribes, we were trading. And we were probably, having, skirmishes or whatever like any peoples do. But we were also the foundation of the democracy. And don't ever let anybody teach you that we were not the founders of the real democracy, the Iroquois democracy. The Native Americans were able to be a lot smarter than most people give them credit for. And these are things, these are narratives, these are truths. And once we start to realize them, open our eyes, and educate ourselves, educate our children, then we start to cultivate that dignity, that pride, and that inspiration to know that we can do those things again as long as we have a will to survive. I'm going to go ahead and in this episode, I'm not going to write any paragraphs on it. I'm just going to go ahead and put it out because I know I've been dying to get one out there for some time. I'm still working on another one that I've been trying to get out for already a few weeks, but we'll be putting that one out here pretty soon. But like I said, man, I appreciate all of y'all, tapping into the program, and I'll catch you on the rebound. I have to watch you. Peace.